Did you know that drone bees have no fathers, but they do have grandfathers? This scenario, called parthenogenesis, is essentially that the drone bees hatch from unfertilized eggs and bear only half the chromosome of worker bees. Thus, no father. However, the queen bee came from a fertilized egg, so they do have a grandfather. Bees are fascinating creatures which are imperative to life as we know it and which have been facing a significant decline. The value of their pollination alone in the United States is in the billions of dollars per year. Do you know how many types of bees there are? There are about 25,000 species of bees, less than 10 of which are honeybees, and within those there are over 40 subspecies of honeybee. An average of 50 to 60,000 bees live in a hive, the majority of which are worker bees making honey. So how long do bees live? Well, the average lifespan of a queen is about 3 to 4 years. Essentially, her job is to mate with drones and lay eggs. She will lay up to 1,000 eggs per day as she is establishing her colony. Drones die upon mating with the queen or are evicted from the hive in preparation for winter. They may live anywhere from a few weeks to 4 months. Worker bees live for 6 to 7 weeks in the summer or 4 to 6 months when they are born during the cooler seasons. They are responsible for cleaning the hive, feeding the larvae, building the comb cells, guarding the hive, and when they are older, they will venture from the hive to forage for pollen and nectar. During the cold months, honeybees stop flying and crowd around the queen in a cluster, shivering to keep the center of the hive at an adequate temperature. The worker bees rotate so that none are left on the outside of the huddle for too long. Throughout this time, they eat their stores of honey. Here's an interesting fact. The honeybee is the only insect that produces a food eaten by man. To produce a quart of honey, about 550 foraging bees have to fly a staggering 48,000 miles, each visiting about 100 flowers per trip. Each bee will only produce about a twelfth of a teaspoon of honey in its life. That is less than this eighth of a teaspoon right here. Pollen and nectar are gathered by worker bees and deposited in hexagonal wax cells. An average of 65 pounds of pollen is collected per hive per year. Pollen is the only natural source of protein for honeybees. The bees add enzymes and fan the nectar with their wings to evaporate the water, gradually turning it into thick, sweet honey. Honey is eaten in a variety of ways, but that's not its only use. It also has medicinal benefits such as burn treatments, and it has antibacterial properties. The consumption of honey has also shown to be beneficial in the treatment of allergies. There are an estimated 100,000 hobbyist beekeepers in the United States, and though beekeeping does take some equipment, it can be as minimal or as extensive an endeavor as you might like. Some of the basic items you might need are beehives or boxes, protective gear, such as these leather gloves, and a bee suit with a hood that zips on to protect you from the bees getting down inside, and also a smoker which you will use in harvesting honey or checking your hive to calm the bees. You can also get a variety of equipment for harvesting your honey, from simple jars and mesh to a spinner that harvests multiple frames at a time. There are various methods and equipment that are effective. Sounds great, right? Well, beekeepers in Western countries have been losing 30 to 70% of their hives per year over the past decade. Why? Why is this happening? Pesticides, mites, loss of habitat, colony collapse disorder are some of the various reasons for this staggering decline. There are ways we can help, such as creating bee-friendly gardens with long-blooming plants, as well as early, mid, and late-blooming varieties, using natural pest control, avoiding pesticides and lawn care products that contain neonicotinoids, and not disturbing nest sites of solitary bees. You can also opt for growing your own produce or purchasing organic produce. It is estimated that every third bite of food we eat is pollinated by a bee. Without sufficient bee populations, we risk losing our food supplies. Fewer bees lead to lower availability and higher potential prices of fruits and vegetables. Fewer bees also means less alfalfa hay to feed cows. Albert Einstein is credited as the spokesman of the following quote: "Life without these insects would be a global disaster. Man would have only 4 years of life left. No more bees, no more pollination, no more plants, no more animals, no more man." In essence, let's do ourselves a favor and help out our friendly neighborhood bees.